Let's do Escape from Mogadishu, which was South Korea's entry for the Best International Feature Oscar. Remember, only very recently, Parasite was the big story at the Oscars. And you'll remember that it annoyed the then president of the United States, who complained that we should have Gone with the Wind back again. This is directed by Ryu Sung-wan, who made Crying Fist and A City of Violence. Inspired by a true story, 1991. North and South Korean diplomats are in Mogadishu. Both are caught up in the chaos that unfolds as Barre is ousted and the rebellion sort of, turns the streets into a war zone. And the North Koreans end up at the embassy of the South Koreans. And the two sides realize that in order to get out of what has become a war zone, they're going to have to work together, which, of course, they can't do because they are duty-bound not to cooperate with each other. The film was a huge domestic hit, and it's kind of easy to see why, because firstly, the setup is interesting. The idea about the North and South Korean diplomats and their families put together in a circumstance in which they literally have to keep political clear water between each other because otherwise they'll be seen as collaborating. And yet what they need to do is to get out of this situation. At one point, there's an agreement which is, okay, you go to this embassy and you try and get to that embassy. I said, well, okay, but what if that embassy only takes the South Koreans? And what if that embassy only takes the North Koreans? And one of the characters says, well, at least half of us will survive. And it's that kind of thing. So that happens for the first 2/3 of it. And some of it is dramatically a little bit sticky, but, it's fine because it is an interesting situation. And then it gets to, well, there are a couple of standards here. There's a couple of scenes in which they're stopped on the streets by young children with guns, which are really terrifying scenes and reminded me of, that's a very, very difficult subject. And the film deals with it in a way which is very kind of dramatic, that it's only the connection between the children, in the Korean children, and the child soldiers, I suppose, that's the wrong phrase for it. The connection between the children averts a terrible thing happening. Anyway, then as we get into the last section, the last third of the movie, it turns into an absolutely nail-biting chase, an attempt to get from one place to another in what seems like a completely hopeless situation. And the chase is really well done, like really properly, blimey, Charlie, that is astonishing. And I was thinking about this whilst talking about Ambulance. Ambulance has got all these kind of, drones, zip, zang, boom. Everyone goes, wow, isn't it amazing that the drone's flipping upside down and going in and out? Yeah. The chase was not even the chase. It's the convoy of cars in the last third of Escape from Mogadishu, attempting to get from point A to point B, is how you do one of those sequences. And it's just from a kind of drama. The camera is agile, but it's all to do with the drama of the film. It's not doing that stuff about swooping and sweeping and going for no reason at all. Every camera movement in that sequence is there for a reason. And I just think it's interesting that if you compare that sequence with what's happening in Ambulance, one of them is, what did you describe, a football player showboating?
Showboating, yeah.
And another one is a director going, I need to tell this story, and I need to tell this story visually, and therefore the camera will go from there to there, and then it will do this, and then it will do that, and then every single part of it is telling the story. So the film is in select cinemas, and then on digital platforms. Select cinemas include the Curzon Bloomsbury Home in Manchester, which of course is one of the best cinemas in the country. And then it's on a range of digital platforms. If you get a chance to see it on a big screen, do, because the final third of it is properly blimey Charlie.